Describe a time you needed to use your imagination. You should say when it was, why you needed to use imagination, how difficult or easy it was, and explain how you felt about it.
When preparing for your Part 2 answer, I suggest you only write the less common vocabulary and high-level expressions you want to use, so you won't forget them. A quick reminder, you don't need to talk about all the subtopics, but they will be very helpful in organizing your thoughts. Don't worry if you miss one or two subtopics. As long as you stay in the main topic, you're in good hands. When it comes to the topic of imagination, the answers could vary depending on your experience. You can talk about arts, reading, traveling, cooking, watching a movie, your workplace, or school-related activities. For example, for travel experience, you can talk about imagining yourself walking the streets of your travel destination before going there to be familiar and safe. For arts, talk about the first time you saw The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. For movies, try your experience while watching a Christopher Nolan movie like Inception or Tenet. In the following model answer, I'll try to discuss the time I read the Harry Potter book. The whole objective of this topic is all about your imagination, so try to sound positive, excited, and hopeful. Let's take a look at this example. Without further ado, let me take this chance to talk about the moment I had to set my imagination in motion to do something. I can't really place the exact date, but I guess it was sometime around 5 years ago. At that time, I was just getting acquainted with reading, and to take the plunge into that hobby, I made up my mind to read Harry Potter. I think the first book was Philosopher's Stone or something. I know everybody gets the picture when it comes to Harry Potter, because of the series of blockbuster movie it has. I couldn't help but notice the jaw-dropping plot of the book. I had to use sheer imagination to visualize the wizarding world, magic, and creative details. Well, I wouldn't say it was challenging to wrap my head around reading the Harry Potter book. What I mean is that I have already seen the movies, so basically, I was just recalling the scenes and visual effects from the films. However, there were parts not shown in the movie that I had to imagine, and actually that was the fun part. Personally, I thought it was a page-turner. Funny thing is that I can't stop toying with the idea of being a wizard, so whenever I hold a stick, I pretend it's a wand, and I wave it to conjure something. Just a silly act, but never fails to amuse me. Anyhow, the book captured my imagination more than the movie, and I lost myself in it. I was enthralled and tickled pink at the same time. I know reading is the road less traveled by these days, but I wouldn't mind reading another riveting story. I know it will fuel my imagination. Long story short, this was a time when I had to take advantage of my imagination. Now this is the chance to screenshot this answer. Practice recording yourself reading it. Less common vocabulary and expressions. Here are some of the less common vocabularies and expressions we used in our Part 2 answer. Be sure to remember and use them in your IELTS training sessions. To set my imagination in motion. I can't really place the exact date. Just getting acquainted with. Take the plunge into. I made up my mind. Get the picture. Series of blockbuster movies. I couldn't help but. Jaw-dropping plot. Sheer imagination. To wrap my head around something. A page turner. Toying with the idea, a silly act, never fails. Captured my imagination. I lost myself. I was enthralled. I was tickled pink. The road less traveled by. Riveting story. Fuel my imagination. Long story short. Take advantage of. For part 3, you are required to talk longer than part 1. This is the time you have got to show your speaking skills. Avoid hesitation, pause, and repetition as much as possible in this part. Check the last part of this video for sample structures. Let's check the following model answers.
Do you think adults can have lots of imagination?
I am of the opinion that grown-ups can have a substantial amount of imagination. Why I say this is because most of them are creative in their own fields. Take for example those who are working in the art industry. They always come up with masterpieces and revolutionary thoughts. In the gaming industry, all the animators and directors are well equipped with superior imagination. And let's not forget about YouTubers who squeeze their brains out to be imaginative and entertaining at the same time. Well, simply put, adults are blessed with imagination.
Do you think adults can have lots of imagination?
I wouldn't say they can have tons of imagination. In my perspective, some grown-ups are sick and tired of their lives that they don't have room for imagination anymore. This can be observed in the case of office workers who suffer from burnout. Not just that, but also adults are already familiar with everything around them that it's needless for the imagination to make sense of their surroundings. And some others don't have time to imagine anything, as they have to be realistic in their daily lives.
Do you think imagination is essential for scientists?
Well, I think it goes without saying that scientists are the ones in need of imagination. Come to think of it, in the past, scientists had to rely on their imagination because their technology was behind time. Let's think about Newton's law of gravity and Einstein's relativity. These were products of sheer imagination. Let's also talk about the astronomers whose primary job is to explore outer space. Their imagination plays a crucial role in discovering more celestial bodies. On the whole, imagination is imperative for scientists.
Do you think imagination is essential for scientists?
I believe that's not the case. I mean, scientists purely base their opinions upon many years of study and experiments. You know, they need to be practical and realistic all the time. Needless to say, science is knowledge-based. Of course, imagination also plays a certain role in their career, but I won't say it's a key factor. At the end of the day, scientists have to bet their bottom dollar on their observations and proper analysis of certain principles and theories. All things considered, imagination isn't that vital.
What kinds of jobs need imagination?
I can think of multiple careers related to this topic. First off, anything related to the art industry like art directors and visual artists, because they have to convert their ideas and emotions from their imaginations into visual mediums. There are also fashion designers who use their artistry to visualize unique designs for various clothing and accessories. And of course, let's not forget about photographers, because they must see the result of their shots even before they click the shutters.
What kinds of jobs need imagination?
Without a doubt, I believe there are a number of professions that use imagination. To begin with, authors and writers, as they need to come up with provocative plots and unprecedented stories. Let's also talk about web designers and video game creators. I mean, their jobs require them to be artistic enough to produce eye-catching and remarkable graphic designs. Finally, detectives or investigators. Well, dealing with crimes take a sheer amount of imagination to put all the facts together and come up with the most probable conclusion. It goes without saying that tons of jobs need imagination. Here are more jobs that need imagination. Journalists, teachers, YouTubers, movie directors, actors, interior designers, florist or floral designer, chef, musicians or composers, among others.
What subjects are helpful for children's imagination?
The way I see it, numerous school subjects can be discussed on this topic. The first thing is arts. I mean, we all know that when kids make art, they use their imagination and creativity. And in a broader perspective, creativity is extremely important for their development. Likewise, music also plays a stellar role in cultivating their imagination, as it teaches them about patterns. We can also agree that music is a form of art that's full of imagination. Let's also bear in mind play or drama class, because it helps kids explore the world around them and the people in it.
What subjects are helpful for children's imagination?
I think it boils down to a couple of options. The first thing that comes to mind is English or language subjects, especially the reading section, because the characters and illustrations in storybooks can capture kids' imagination and interest. What's more, science can also boost their imagination through making experiments and enhancing their critical thinking skills. On a final note, when it comes to imagining past events and interesting real-life scenarios, the history subject can help kids improve their imaginative skills.